What's up, everyone? It's DSP with episode 2 of DSP's Inbox. Before we even start, a couple quick things. First of all, I just got back from dinner with my parents, and a pro tip for anyone who's partially lactose intolerant like me: do not order the crab bisque, no matter how good it sounds, because you will be in pain afterwards. So if I have to run off to explode into my bathroom at any time during this video, please forgive me. One other thing that I do want to say is thank you to the viewer. You might find this hard to believe, but a viewer actually donated a Nintendo Wii, which I received this week, and therefore, because I've gotten this Wii for free, it's basically locked in that yes, I will be playing Metroid Other M come late August when that game comes out. So thank you very much. One problem: I accidentally deleted your email, dude. Your messages that you sent me on YouTube, basically telling me that you were the one who sent me this Wii. I know who you are because I have all your information, obviously, from the shipment, but I don't remember your email address to send you. Remember, I said I was going to pay for the shipping because I was so appreciative that you were going to donate that I said I would pick up the shipping. So send me another message on YouTube and I'll take care of that for you, no problem. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. We got a lot of questions to cover. We got a lot of new questions in the past 2 weeks, especially with SPO qualifiers and things that went on, so let's get right to it. So the first question we have here, this one comes from Scott Henderson, and the question is, I'd like to ask you, how long will you keep posting video game walkthroughs, reviews, and video games in general? I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't keep playing and posting videos on YouTube on video games forever, okay? I mean, you can't be playing video games and posting video games every day on YouTube when you're 40 to 50 years old and maybe trying to start a family. Well, if I'm 40 to 50 years old and I'm just trying to start a family, I'm a little late. He goes on to say, and I know that that's still a long time from now. I'm sure you'll always continue with your love of video games, and you'll keep posting videos on video games for many years to come. But when do you think that your life will become so busy that you'll be too bored, or you'll want to travel, get married, and you won't want to post videos? Well, first of all, just to let you know, Scott, it's not even a concern right now because I've only been doing videos on YouTube, if you can believe it, for less than 2 years. Anyone can check my video history and you'll see that my first real serious group of videos was in 2008, fall of 2008, when I started doing this more prolifically and more steadily. Before then, every once in a while I would do a video, but it wasn't anything, major. Right now, I'm enjoying what I'm doing on YouTube. I'm getting, lots of views, lots of positive feedback, popularity. I get donations, like I just mentioned, someone donated a Wii, and I actually make ad revenue off of my partner channel, The King of Hate HD. And to be completely honest, it's helping me out a lot. It's allowing me to do things like go on this trip to Tennessee and enter the SPO qualifiers and do other things that normally maybe I wouldn't have the money to do. So right now, it's pretty cool. It's actually kind of a supplemental income for me, but at the same time, I really enjoy what I'm doing. Because I'm not officially working for anyone, I'm able to say whatever the hell I want to say and give you honest reactions to the games I play and give you honest reviews of the games that I play. And, I'm probably one of the few people on the internet that's allowed to do that because I didn't actually sign up any contract, even though I've had a couple offers now to do it, to work for, these mainstream companies. I've turned them down because I'd rather be independent and be honest with you, the viewer. So, sure, of course, I'm sure there's going to come a point in my time, in my life, when either my real job outside of what I do on YouTube is going to become very demanding, or, something will happen and I'll run into a person who I want to spend the rest of my life with, and I'd rather spend time with that person than make videos for YouTube. But still, people don't seem to understand that doesn't mean that just because you have a life, you can't also have a hobby. Who knows? Maybe I'll still be able to balance what I do, and maybe I'll have to cut down on what I do on YouTube. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to have to stop altogether. So to answer your question, Scott, I can't answer that question because who knows what the future will bring. This is still pretty much a new thing for me. Like I said, only doing it only about 1.5 to 2 years now. Right now it's actually helping me income-wise, which is great. It allows me to make more videos and play more games for you guys and girls and women and men, whatever, dogs who watch my videos. But I don't know. Will there ever come a time when I'll stop? Maybe, but we'll see in the future. It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of a weird question because I don't know where this is going. Who knows? In 2 years, YouTube could be defunct. I mean, it could be crazy. Something like that could happen. So who knows? Next question is from Dark Wolf 1191, And he says, I've seen your footage from tournaments you've been to. I was wondering, is there some sort of website or place to find out about these events that you use? Also, is there any other thing that you can talk about, like, for example, what countries are eligible to enter these? Because I'm from the UK. How old would you have to be to enter, etc., etc., etc.? Well, if you don't know, really the major hub for Street Fighter tournaments, which is what I attend, is www.shoryuken.com. That's spelled SHORYUKEN.com. It'll bring you to their main page. If you click on the forums section of their page, and you go to the tournaments and events section, it lists all of the tournaments that are going on. They're publicly listed tournaments. And to answer your question, 99.9% of them, anyone can enter, any age, it doesn't really matter. Usually these events have some kind of a cover charge or an entry fee that you have to pay. Some are console, some are arcade, depending on where you are. Most of them these days are console. Some are on PlayStation 3, some are on Xbox 360. Usually they list that kind of information. There's no limitation to who can enter. However, most tournaments, in fact, I'd say the majority of them are in-person tournaments, meaning you're not going to find an online tournament where someone from the UK can fight against someone from Japan who can then fight someone against the US, simply because, as we've discussed many times, the netcode for Street Fighter games isn't good enough yet to do that. So most of these tournaments are offline, in-person tournaments. For example, Evolution had entrants, I think, from something like 7 or 8 different countries this year. Over 1,500 entrants. I think they said there was actually a total of 1,700 entrants from all over the world. These tournaments are open usually to everyone. It's just that most of the tournaments that you see are little local events. They're not giant events. You have to kind of look for the events that are kind of created as a sticky topic on the forum, meaning that they stick to the top of the forum. Usually those are the more popular, bigger events that need more attention and will draw more people. But to answer your question, there's no age limit. There's no real, limit of where you have to be from. Just show up in time. Most of the rules and the times and the places are listed in the forums there, and you have to pay an entry fee, and then you're free to enter and play. So it pretty much is an open thing right now. It's not any kind of an elitist group of only certain people who can enter these tournaments. Okay, up next, we got a question from Steve DeCasa, and this is a long one, so bear with me. It says, hey Phil, I'm a long-time fan, first time getting in touch with you. I watched all your videos from the SBO qualifiers and they're very entertaining. I'm not even a Street Fighter player, but I find them fun to watch. I thought maybe a good idea for a video, maybe you could re-upload some of the important matches from that tournament, like the grand finals of you versus Domdai, and put an audio commentary over it, like dubbing it, explaining what's going on in the match, what's going on in your head, what you're thinking, strategies, etc. And he goes on to say he sees this happen in some poker shows, and maybe it would be a good catch for a video series for me. That's actually a really good idea, and at one point I might end up doing that. It's not actually anything really that I've been planning to do, but if there is a demand of people who really want to know what's going on in the heads of players when they're playing these matches, that's something that I could definitely do, especially since I have the raw footage. It would be pretty easy to just, record an audio commentary over it and dub it and re-release it. But what I would want to do is see what the kind of demand is. I mean, the SBO qualifiers, there's been a lot of views on them, but I wouldn't want to put all that effort into it if only a couple thousand people were going to watch the videos, especially because it would be a lot more work to cut these audio commentaries and dub it over it. So I'd like some feedback, guys. Everyone watching, let me know if that's something that you're interested in. And it's not just SBO qualifiers, but maybe it's other tournaments too that I attend, like a Street Fighter 4 tournament or something like that. Maybe if I could dub my opinions of what's going on in the matches, or maybe I could even get some of the players who were in those matches to do commentary later on. If you'd be interested in that, let me know if that kind of thing would interest you. It might be a good idea for a future series. So, next question, let's see. How would you feel about auctioning off the games that you've played? With the fans you have, there would probably be a market for autographed copies of the games you play, and you'd probably get a better deal than if you traded your games in. You could even throw in some merch as promotional items if the auction went up to a certain point. And that question is from a mysterious person who didn't leave any contact info. So, mysterious person who didn't leave any contact info, it's a good idea, and you're not the first person to ask that question. In fact, a lot of my friends in real life basically say to me, why don't I do that? Because I think that maybe if I sold, for example, my copy of Fallout 3, or maybe a signed copy of the Fallout 3 strategy guide that I used when I was playing the game, or any of these games that I play, and usually, as you know, if you follow along my channels, I trade in my games to usually my local GameStop after I beat them, and I get credit so that I can purchase future games rather than just keeping them, because once you beat a game sufficiently, which is pretty much what I do when I beat a game, I go from start to finish and do most of the major things in the game. There's not a lot of replay value left. Those games I trade in to get more money rather than just have them sit on a shelf, because what else are you going to do with that game? And since I buy so many games, I definitely need to trade in the games to help money-wise, you know, to continue to buy the new games that come out. And especially, as you saw this year, I bought a gaming laptop. There's all kinds of other things I've been doing in order to bring more footage to you guys, so I need to cut corners and save money wherever I can. And yeah, the potential is there that if I did, say, put up eBay auctions for every game that I've played, maybe I'd make some money on them. The problem with that is, it's more fucking work. It's not easy to just constantly be putting up eBay auctions. Oh, keep track of this one, keep track of that one. When did this one end? When did that one end? Now I have to mail this today. Now I have to send this tomorrow. Yada, yada, yada. It's a pain in the ass. In fact, I used to have a lot of stuff that I would sell on eBay, and I had a friend of mine who would do all the footwork for me, and I would give him a cut of the money that I made. That was a long time ago, but it's a lot of work. It really is. So for me to continue to pump out the videos like I do, and to, you know, continue with my life as it is now, and to start selling stuff on eBay like that would be way too much work. It would be out of control. And obviously, if I had someone who was adept at doing it or something like that, I would consider it. But right now, there's really no one that I know that does it. And to be completely honest, it's not a big deal for me to just walk to the local GameStop and trade in the games. Oh no, you know, I made $30 out of 60 that I spent, instead of maybe selling it on eBay making 40 or 50 bucks because I signed it or whatever. Not a big deal. Now that's not to say that in the future that stuff might not go on sale. I've had some ideas of maybe, you know, hey, if I go to a tournament, a big tournament, like let's say I go to Evo next year and I wear a jersey or whatever, maybe you can buy the jersey online afterwards. I don't know. I've had ideas like that. Or maybe even giveaways, cool giveaways and things like that. Like someone said, have an auction for something, but if it goes above a certain amount, there's an extra prize or something. It's not something that I've ruled out. It's definitely something I've thought about, but like I said, it's so much extra work to do that rather than just to go to the store and just take the game and give me some credit that I haven't looked into it yet, but it's a possibility in the future. A couple more questions here. Again, bear with me. I'm dying right now from this crab piss that I ate, so. Next question is from Samantha Rodriguez, and she says, what is the job that you've always wanted? Well, Samantha, I'm glad that you asked me that question. I've always wanted to either be like a world dictator or maybe like a super villain, kind of like maybe an M. Bison, but maybe not. Maybe like the Joker, because a lot of people say I sound like the Joker. And I can really get into like some hysterical laughing moments where I, you know, blow someone's fucking head off, or get them with some laughing gas and their faces contorts to a smile and they die like that, and then I go, motherfucker, you're dead, motherfucker. But anyway, yeah, so I would say either, you know, like total, you know, unchallenged control of the entire planet, or maybe like a super villain. Those would be the things that I've always wanted to do. Couple more here. This one's from Guitar Shred UK, so someone else from the UK. And here's what he says, a long one again, so bear with me. Hi Phil, BioWare announced yesterday, Thursday, July 22nd, so this was from a week or two ago, that there's another DLC episode on the way for Mass Effect 2, which looks really exciting. This takes a lot from the storyline of Mass Effect Redemption, the series of comics which detail, he spells her name Lara, which isn't her name's Liara, her pursuit of Shepard's body and her attempts to get him back in the 2 years that he is considered to be dead at the start of the game. BioWare also confirmed that Liara, now he spells it right, Liara, will now be a playable character in Mass Effect 2 and yet another member of your team. I, for one, am really stoked for this, particularly to see Liara's interactions with current members of the team, especially Samara, as we can see an interesting meeting of two key Asari characters who have both had to take part in some serious family feuds. If you remember, Liara had to attack her mother Benezia in Mass Effect 1, and Samara had to kill her daughter Morinth in Mass Effect 2. So, given that the DLC may be some time away, what are your thoughts on this DLC and the potential for one big centerpiece DLC that will bridge the gap between Mass Effect 2 and the final installment of the trilogy? Wow, that's a mouthful. Well, Guitar Shred UK, here is my thoughts on the next DLC, which is going to have two Asari with, you know, basically coming into the picture and having Liara become back to a major part of the game. Titties, 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 giant, heaving blue breasts with blue veins going through them. Yes, Benezia's tits actually had veins animated in them in Mass Effect 1. Giant bouncing fun bags and bosoms, and it's just been a long time, and I can't wait to see him come back. I can't wait for the Shadow Broker DLC. Okay, next question is from Pandora at lemonshrew.com, and this question is, okay, I have a question for you. I'm a girl, and I spend most of my time playing video games, but a lot of people seem to think that girls shouldn't play video games. What are your thoughts on this? Well, Pandora, thank you for the question. I always enjoy receiving questions from females as well as males. As you know, females are a minority in the gaming world. And to answer your question, you know, what is my thoughts on females playing video games? I don't think it's necessarily an issue of that girls shouldn't play video games. It's just that girls suck at video games. I mean, let's face it. It's always the guys who are sitting down and spending the time to play the games competitively. It always seems to be like a guy kind of thing. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I almost view it as like sports. Like, sure, there are female professional sports, but for the most part, it's the male sports that are viewed by the most people, seem to be like the most competitive. And it's kind of weird because at least in sports, your excuse is, well, you know, the males are supposed to be stronger, they're supposed to be faster, because they're supposed to be the protector of the family and the one that goes out and breaks their back and makes the money, traditionally, and that's why they excel at sports. But for video games, I don't know if that's the case, because let's face it, video games really doesn't need a lot of physical ability. It's more hand-eye coordination, more thought process, maybe reaction time. So is there a real reason why there's such a massive amount of male people, or males who play video games and are better at video games than this smaller group of females? I don't know. Maybe when video games were first becoming popular, it was more of a geeky kind of thing, and it was these computer programming guys who were into it. And now that it's hitting the mainstream, that's changing. I don't know. An interesting twist on this topic is at Evolution 2010 this year, which is the national fighting game tournament for Street Fighter and other fighting games. They actually had a females-only Super Street Fighter 4 tournament, and the stipulation was that in order to get into that tournament, the female had to at least enter the regular tournament as well, which included both males and females. And then if they did that, they had the option to enter this females-only tournament. And actually, very few females even entered this tournament. A lot of them felt like self-conscious to do it, and it was kind of bullshit, because a lot of people got a lot of, or I want to say, a lot of people gave the girls a lot of shit for no fucking reason. Actually basically saying their gameplay was nowhere near as good as the males' gameplay. And to be completely honest, if you watch the footage, sure, they weren't as good as, you know, the top professional males who had entered the tournament. But I'm also sure these girls weren't sitting there for fucking, you know, months on end since the game came out, like some of these guys who are treating it like a professional job. To get that in a second. And basically, you know, treating it like it was some kind of a important thing. This was just something cool for them to do. Yes, maybe they enjoyed competitive games, but they weren't as hardcore into it as the guys. I, for one, don't necessarily believe there's any natural reason that a guy should be better at a video game than a girl. So I was actually happy to see this females-only event, and you know, Jesus Christ, someone's farting into my answering machine. I was personally happy to see this females-only event happen. I wish that more guys would support getting women into video games rather than being very, you know, defensive about it, saying, oh, they suck, and why should they enter, and stuff like that. I think that it's equal opportunity, and I would love to see more women participate, and I think it should be an equal playing field. I don't think that any woman should feel intimidated to jump into video games. And to your question, Pandora, you say, what are your thoughts? People think that girls shouldn't play video games. That's preposterous. Why? I mean, that's just a fucking sexist-ass attitude, and it needs to go away. It has no place in today's modern society. Two more things. The next one is actually from, you might have noticed, or you might recognize his name, John204. He's actually the guy who has taken those remixes of my voice from different game playthroughs that different people have made, like Ghost Drone 110 and other people, and he made them into ringtones. So he actually sent me a message. He said, hey, I want to say thanks, DSP, and especially to Ghost Drone 110, TK Blaze, and the Mass Defect for allowing me to turn their songs into hit ringtones. I'd like to congratulate you, Phil, because your ringtone download count is now 49,345 total tones downloaded in only 4 months' time. That's over 10,000 ringtones downloaded a month. Holy shit. So that is fucking crazy, dude. So I guess the question now is, why the hell aren't more companies contacting me? Because obviously if I can sell 50,000 ringtones in 4 months, there's some potential there to make money, and why isn't my phone blowing up with these offers? That's crazy, and I'm just, thank you, John, for doing that. You didn't have to make ringtones out of that stuff. I know that was time out of your day to set that up, and I know that you gave them away for free, which is, I mean, amazing. So thanks a lot, and everyone, thank you for participating. That was great. I wish that, you know, my fans, you know, I love when these guys make these songs, these remixes. I think they're really original, and I hope that they make more in the future. I hope that you can take stuff from other video game playthroughs. I know that it could be hard, especially with games that have constant music or a lot of sound effects, to take those voice clips and isolate them and make them into a song, but so far it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty successful, so thanks a lot, and I hope to see that in the future. Alright, so I guess that's pretty much it, but I guess there's one other question. Shh, quiet. Everyone keeps asking me, what happened to Project 7? And it's not just a couple people, it's everyone. You know, my friends offline, you know, off of YouTube ask me, what's Project 7, when you can start up? So, shh, keep it on the down low. Maybe, just maybe.